So you want to invest in Web3, but you don't know what tokens to buy? You can use SwissBorg's Thematics instead. They select a collection of the best performing Web3 tokens and rebalance them upon performance. So you don't need to worry about going all in on an absolute steaming turd. Sounds good to me. SwissBorg. Hello everybody, welcome back. This is my second attempt at a video. The first one rudely interrupted by a 3-year-old needing a wee. So let's get started then, shall we? So we're going to start with the same old. This is the S&P 500 futures, and yeah, there's your golden cross. Pull back towards the 50. It was a bit messy, but so we've had FOMC in between all of this. 25 basis point, with a hint to the fact that they're thinking of not raising any more rates. So this is, I guess, bullish for the market on a fundamental basis. It's bearish for the dollar because other central banks are going to continue to raise rates faster or larger, should we say, at this point now than the dollar. So we're going to see a decrease in dollar value, I would expect. However, markets can be counterintuitive, so that doesn't mean that we can't base trades on dollar bouncing on the TA factor, but on a fundamental basis, yeah, it's not looking to see. I doubt we'll be seeing any significant rallies on the dollar, that would blow everything out of the water. But TA plays a part in that, and we would be looking for a rally at some point, but on a fundamental basis, no. This is euro dollar still continuing with its uptrend, so following the fundamentals on the central bank's positions, and yeah, it's still strong. It's still strong. Well, I'd say strong. It's not massively strong, but still in its uptrend based on the TA side of things. Golden cross retest, bang, up and away. Gold obviously made its new all-time high, and since then we're consolidating. If you want to think about trading this on a 4-hourly, the 4-hourly is giving us an entry point more or less here at 2040, which is your 10 exponential moving average. If we're going to find a bounce on the short term, that's where it's going to be. Recognize that we have printed a brand new all-time high for gold, so that is something to think about, as in we reached a new all-time high and then we rejected and consolidated, and this would be an entry point into it. Do we have the power to move up? I don't know. I'd probably would say yes, whether it be from this exact level or a little bit further down to 2020, which is a Bollinger Band center on a 4-hourly, but also a 10 exponential on a daily. So let's get into the meat of the matter then, shall we? Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has now reclaimed all major moving averages. Most important, as far as I can see, being the Bollinger Band center, 29,000. Once you're above the Bollinger Band, same rules would apply when you're below them. You're 65% more likely to remain in that portion of the band. And we are in the upper portion, so you're 65% more likely to remain in this band, generally speaking. Not only that, but we are in a bullish chart, so we've got divergences from the lower term to the higher term moving averages. They're all in the right place. Everything is in the right place, and if we're looking at anything really here on a formation basis, you could argue that we're toying with the idea of a breakout of a symmetrical triangle, the support mostly being the 50 exponential moving average, but the descending trend line could just be sliced through right just like that. And if that's the case, then yeah, fine. We are toying with the idea of a breakout right now with a 65% likelihood of actually breaking out, and the target being up here around 31 to 32,000 to begin with. The reason I say to begin with is that that's likely to have a rejection, as the money flow index is actually quite high. This is subject to the volume being so low, really, that we've managed to rally all the way up here on the momentum of this money flow index and not actually see a brand new local high be printed. So if we did get a big move up here, it would likely get rejected, but it doesn't mean that we can't continue on over the next few weeks, months maybe, which we could. Just means that I would expect to see a rejection around that level, to be honest, and a reset. And then hopefully at that point, we'll see some decent volume coming into this chart, which is something we don't have at the moment. Also, odds are in favour of the bulls because the MACD, although it hasn't crossed, the histogram's been ticking up closely, and we're above the 0 point. So a cross above the 0 point is more bullish than a cross anywhere else. So we'll be looking for some momentum, some gaining momentum at some point when that happens. And again, with the price action following the momentum on the RSI, just leads me to believe that this is basically consolidating at a sideways level, and we'll be looking for a push up at some point. Now, altcoins, no altcoin is created equal. We've had some reasonable trades over this last week, that being Jasmine, and even ICP managed to generate some signals and setups that we've taken advantage of. But the main thing to focus on is this total 2 chart. As far as I'm concerned, total 2 is basically the market cap of crypto excluding Bitcoin. And yeah, we've come back down again over this last week to the golden cross retest once again. If you're going to get a decent bounce with continuation that's going to take us up to much larger targets, that's where you would take your positions from. This is where I said I'm going to go on my spending spree, which I did. Not looking for altcoins to outperform Bitcoin at this moment, not with this kind of setup and this kind of chart. I'm looking for altcoins to have decent entry points at this level on a risk to reward basis. So that was the idea behind that, and I'll stick with it. To be honest with you, I'll stick with it. Now, this video doesn't need to be any longer than that. Over all these charts, I am expecting further upside. We recognize that gold has peaked and is consolidating. Recognize that the money flow index on Bitcoin is quite hot, even though we do point to further upside in the short term. This would be over the next few days and weeks. All the direction on the generally is pointing upwards for all the most important parts of the puzzle, being forex, indices, and gold. And Bitcoin. So you would expect to see altcoins move up with that also, but the total 2 chart isn't as bullish on the immediate, not immediately, although it does offer good entry points for altcoins generally. So we're not looking for altcoins to go kapow and explode and go crazy, but what I am looking for is that actually it's an acceptable level now to think about buying altcoins generally, which is why I bought them around this sort of low a few days back. So, long story short, still bullish on all markets. Fundamentals from the Fed and the opposite for other central banks do put a fundamental baseline down for the dollar to stay relatively low and maybe even go lower. But the TA will allow for a bounce on that dollar at some point, regardless of the fundamentals and the central bank positions. And so we'll be looking for that to maybe spark a consolidation in the market. But for the moment, though, I do think that everything looks like it's definitely pointed up. We should expect still only up, generally speaking. It's a volatile market. It's a volatile asset class if you're dealing with crypto. So it'll go up and down and up and down. But generally, we've got new highs to be made before we actually find a peak and consolidate. That's how I'm choosing to interpret these charts. Recognize this isn't a crystal ball. This is risk to reward. It's a statistical bias that I have that favors further upside. That's all it is. That's all it is. It's no different to putting a bet on to say that I think Leeds United are going to win the World Cup. Obviously, I wouldn't say that that's possible. Obviously, they don't play the World Cup, the Premier League. But you know what I mean. It's not a bet I would take. However, there's more chance of Bitcoin and all markets reaching new local highs than there definitely is of Leeds United winning the Premier League. Nothing against Leeds, obviously, but I'm just telling you, it's statistics. That's all I'm saying. Right, other than that, hope you have a nice day. If you want to join the Patreon, links in the description below. We're doing a live stream tonight, so we can look at all the charts you want me to look at. Other than that, I hope you have a nice day and good weekend, and take it easy.